Hi everyone, this is May. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you about how I ended up meeting James Jirayu. And I thought it might be nice for you to know what it was like as an international fan, non-Thai, who has met him, and what a fun and unexpected journey this was. So I came into fandom quite late. I had never seen a Thai drama before, and it was only in 2019 because of some recommendations that I started watching Thai dramas, and I came across James and I became a very big fan. So James is 28 years old this year, and he has just crossed his 8th year anniversary of being in the entertainment business. I am an English speaker. I didn't speak Thai, so I have to rely very much on English subtitles, and it wasn't that easy to find at first, but I managed to find some, for which I was very thankful. One day I was buying some merchandise, and the person whom I was ordering them from, who was collating for international fans, so I noticed that her name looked very familiar, and I asked her, "Are you one of the subbers?" And she said yes. So out of the blue, I just offered to help, and she said I would really appreciate the help. So I got to know her and we started to work, and the first drama I worked on was called Krong Kam, or at the time we translated it as The Cage of Karma. It is now available on some other international platforms known as Repercussion. And subtitling was absolutely new to me. It was such a fun process. I was learning so much. So I'll do a separate video about fan subbing another time, because I think it is something that fans might be interested in. Anyway, back to how I met James. So I visit Thailand quite often because I have loved it since I was very young, and I was making a trip there with my family, and this friend of mine, my subbing friend, said, "Oh, let's meet for lunch." And then a few days before my trip, she said, "Oh, James has an event. Would you like to come?" So I said, "Sure," not really knowing what to expect. And I went to a shopping mall called Fashion Island. This was the first time I'd ever seen the giant James G light boards in person. I'd only ever seen them in photographs. It was very fun for me because it was a new experience. My friend, she's really sweet, and of course she speaks English and she does the translation, but it was the first time we'd ever met in the flesh, and she was so warm, and we have become very good friends. So my friend said, "Okay, go and stand over there. James is going to walk in." So I went, and I have to be very honest, I felt a bit awkward, but it helps that I was in a foreign country and I figured nobody would know me no matter what I did. The stars started walking in one by one, and I was so thrilled because I recognized them since I watched the show. And you know, Thai actors are so handsome. They really are. If you've never watched a Thai show, give it a try. They are so handsome. So they started walking in one by one. And because James is the headliner, he walked in last. And I got to see him up close, so close. And it was so fun. And I thought, my goodness, he is even more handsome in person than he is on screen. So at the end of the show, basically everybody who was in the cordoned off area in the audience got to go on stage to do what they call tapping hands with all the actors. So one of my newfound friends, who really didn't know me at all, she gave me her sticker so that I could go in and be one of the people to meet the actors. And it was so unexpected. I just didn't know how to react. I couldn't believe the generosity of these girls, but I went anyway. So I queued up, I went on stage, I told Pat Tugrit how handsome I found him, and it was the first time I came literally face to face with James, and I was so starstruck. I babbled some nonsense and then I walked off the stage, and then my friend says, "Come with me. Let's see if I can get you to meet James." So I thought, you know, she's just crazy, right? So we went to the back, and to the back of this tent kind of thing, and my friend signaled to James's manager and said, "There's a fan here from Singapore." And she was so nice, and she said, "Okay, come in." And they brought me into this cordoned off area, and then I waited while other fans were screaming out for James and everybody wanted to meet him and do whatever it was. So anyway, I got my few seconds with him. I just told him it's very nice to meet you. I like your work, etc. Just, you know, tried not to sound like an idiot. I gave him a little gift that I bought, and then I said, can I have a selfie? So after I got my selfie with James, you would think that's enough, right? I mean, pick myself up off the floor and go home. But that's not where it ended. So we charged out and towards the car park. And my friend and I were at the cargo lifts waiting for the lift, and lo and behold, James and his team and August, who plays the youngest brother in Gongkam, come walking past us to the cargo lift. All the Thai fans that I've met are actually very polite, and they have very strict boundaries. They give James and the other stars a lot of space, and they don't intrude and they don't push themselves in. We waited for the next lift, and my friend is really funny. She has been a fangirl for a long time. She was one of the early fans, so she knows James' team pretty well. And just before the lift door shut, she shouted to James to say, "Don't leave, we're coming down to see you." And he kind of nodded his head and smiled. And we're standing in this car park. It's very hot. It's kind of dark, and all of a sudden all the fangirls come into the car park and surround him. It's very hot, so he takes off his jacket and he starts bantering with them and talking to them, and I'm like everybody else, taking pictures of him, you know, taking like hundreds of pictures, just snapping away. They all ask for a photograph, so he does a group photograph. Yeah, I think we had to kind of squat down, and then he said, "Okay, everybody close your eyes." So close your eyes. And then I was just looking like, I cannot believe this is happening. And then he gets into his van with his team, and everybody waves goodbye. So you would think that is the end, but that's not the end for the fan club, and this is where I really respect my friends. We had to go back and keep the LED signboards, so they keep those, but the light signs also come with these telescopic tripods, which are very heavy. So we had to pack up all these, load them onto a cart, load the bags, load everything into the cart, and take them into the hot car park again, put them into one of the fans' cars so that she could take it home for safekeeping. And then at 3:30 that afternoon, I had the first meal of the day, because I had not eaten breakfast because I was afraid that I would miss something. I would have eaten cardboard if it was put in front of me. I was so hungry, but it was such a fun day, and I felt that the Thai fans were so warm and so accepting, as long as I was respectful and didn't try to do anything strange, like, you know, hug or kiss or invade James' privacy. Everything was fine. There are many people who don't understand fangirling, and there are many levels of fangirling. You've heard of the crazy, you know, toxic fans, but most of the fans that I've met, I think, are really lovely people, and they love James, they want to promote his work. I just have this feeling that as long as you don't hurt anybody else, and if it makes you happy, then just go and do it. But that basically was my first encounter with James Jirayu, and it started me off on a crazy year where I met him several times. It had never occurred to me that I would ever end up fangirling someone and actually meeting him. So it was really by a stroke of luck, and that's why I called this video How I Accidentally Met James Jirayu. So if you found this interesting, and if you would like to live vicariously through my experience, then stay tuned for my future videos where I will talk more about where fangirling James Jirayu has taken me. So till next time, stay safe everybody. Bye.